Oh, I'm live. There we go. We've been having a few technical difficulties on this Saturday morning. The setup was a little crazy, so we are trying to finish doing a setup. But good morning. Hello. I am super excited to be doing a Christmas patterning this morning. I love to pattern in Adobe Illustrator, and oops, that's not also what I want to do. And I am also really excited to be going for a 25 days of Christmas again this year. I actually already have my Grinch pulled up on my screen. So I've been kind of looking around and trying to figure out what I want to pattern for one of my shirts for my 25 of Christmas this year. And I decided on this fun Grinch pattern. Let's see here if this is working. Maybe. Nope. Let's try that. And quest, there we go. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube, make sure to drop me a hello. I would love to see you. If you have any questions while I am patterning, definitely say hello, and you have to make sure that I am using a StreamYard. So if you want to say hi and you want me to know who you are, definitely make sure you are dropping you're giving StreamYard permission to do that. There we go. And let's fix this. Maybe it's thinking about it. We're gonna flip that back around. There we go. Now on Instagram, they should be able to see my screen as well. Little technical difficulties. We're trying something new today, and we're having a good time doing it. So, like I said, I love to digitally apparel pattern in Adobe Illustrator, and today we are patterning this fun Grinch costume shirt. It's kind of costume-esque, but I have found the fabric, and now I am super excited to get it patterned so that I can hopefully wear it very, very soon. So I'm going to pull up my sloper pattern. A sloper pattern is just something that it fits my body. I've already measured it, I've cut it out, and I've made many different patterns with it already, so I know that it works for me. And I have it saved on my computer so that I can easily and quickly just pick it up and do a new pattern. So I'm going to start with the front. And since it is a asymmetrical shirt, I'm going to first reflect my pattern across the axis. So we're going to reflect. Oop, not that. Alt. There we go. And we're going to copy it so that we have a beautiful two-sided garment that I can work with. And then I'm going to cut it apart because I want to be able to work with this as a full garment and not just a half garment. I want to get that middle out of there, and then I'm going to rejoin those pieces. I want that smooth. There we go. Let's go take a look. So then we have a very asymmetrical line right across that neckline. We also have a little bit of a drop shoulder, maybe. I'm not sure. Drop shoulders aren't my favorite, so I'm probably not going to be doing the drop shoulder exactly, but I am going to do that a little bit. And the other thing, I'm actually going to thicken up my stroke lines so that hopefully they can be better seen. There we go. I think now you'll be able to see that a little bit better. When I'm patterning, I always like when I'm printing out my patterns, I always like my stroke lines a little bit thinner. But when I'm working on the computer to have other people see it, I definitely need to remember to make those a little bit thicker so they are more easily seen. Awesome. So the next thing Now we're actually going to go do that neckline. We're also going to have to note that that's going to go down in that shoulder, that sleeve. So we're going to get our pen out, and I'm just going to do a little bit of yeah, I don't really like that. We're going to pop it so that it goes more like that. I'm going to curve that guy because I definitely want him 90 degrees. Yeah, I like that much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to cut away this top part of the shirt that I don't want anymore. There we go. Awesome. So that's basically the front. Very easy. I'm going to keep a little bit of shape. This one probably doesn't have a lot of shape in it, but I like my garments to have a little bit more shape. So I'm not going to actually do much else with that. So next, I'm going to move my sleeve right up top here. And I'm going to do the same for the back. So we're going to highlight it, and then we're going to reflect it. There we go. And we're going to cut it apart. There we go. So as you can see, I am actually using my keys to do a lot of selecting of my tools. I have all my tools lined up over on the edge of my computer, but you can actually call up all the tools almost all by key commands. And it's actually really handy to be able to do that. So I always recommend that. And if you are interested in it, I will make sure that I'll put a link in the description below that you can grab a useful key commands and charts that I use all the time when I'm patterning in Adobe Illustrator, so that you can start using those key commands and really getting patterning faster. Actually, before I pen it, I actually need to go back and I need to smooth. I need to make this a whole garment. So I always make it a whole garment because if you're adding seam allowance on later and it's not a whole garment, your seam allowance will add on the outside of your pattern and the inside of your pattern, which is not much of a ideal situation. And I see on Instagram, I have somebody asking how much it costs. This is Adobe Illustrator that I'm working in, so you can get it for, I believe, $19.99 a month. It is a subscription, but it's Adobe. So if you want to go for the full Creative Cloud, it's like $60 a month, but that includes the Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe Illustrator and the PDF reader, and it includes everything. But I believe you can get just Adobe Illustrator for $19.99. And I do have a deal where I can get you an extra, I think 20% off that I can send you after the live and let you know. So now what I'm going to do is, because I clipped off just a little bit on the front of my garment already, I'm going to make sure that they line up on the back. So I'm actually, nope, I'm on the wrong one. Let's get to the right, copy, paste, and then we're going to line them up so that they match up. Like that, and rotate it around. Nope, almost on it. There we go. That way, you know that your garment is true to begin with, because it's important to get those garments true, because if it's not, then you're going to have problems later on when you're actually cutting it out and trying to sew it together. Then I'm going to do the same type of pattern and click there. We're going to go about there. And I'm going to go a little bit lower actually in the back, I think. So what's really handy is, even though I have that line and I definitely don't like it, you can really quickly just maneuver these anchor points any which way that you want and definitely have a completely different pattern. So I am Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that since I don't need it. And we're going to corner, make sure those are joined. I just realized those weren't. And I got rid of one too many. Is that connected there? So sometimes when you're working on the same layer, your patterns will accidentally connect in ways that you don't want them to. That's why my new back neckline actually disappeared from each other, or it deleted with the other one. A lot of times when I am patterning, I like to use my layers function so that never happens. You can trace everything, you can get everything, and it still works out because you're on separate layers and you can always go back. But I didn't do that this time. It happens. There we go. I'm definitely only selecting the top. We're going to delete that before I forget. We're going to go back and make this pattern a whole pattern like so. There we go. And now I'm going to cut this pattern apart. And Oh, I never actually fully joined that pattern. That's cool. I need to know that for the bottom. I'm not even taking my own advice, but you know, sometimes you have to give yourself your own advice to make sure it goes well. That bottom one I did join. Then we're going to go here. Join and a corner. And a corner. Awesome. So there is my front and back. Then we need to do our sleeves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the regular sleeve on the one side because it's just going to be lengthening that sleeve down. And then we'll go and we'll actually cut the point, because when we look at this guy, he has a nice, it comes to a nice little point on that sleeve, giving you a fun detail in that sleeve. So I am going to go ahead and drop it. We're going to drop a line. I don't have my measurements in front of me, but I believe we're going to do a 20. We'll do 24 because I can always hem it. We're going to go down at 270. There we go. And then we're going to grab just that path. Nope. Now let me grab just it. Or not. That's okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab that anchor point and pull it down. We're going to delete that anchor point. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up a nice long line right across there. That is 10, 0. Definitely not long enough, but that's okay because I think I actually only want 10 inches around my wrist. No, I want 12 inches. So we're going to do a new line at 12. There we go. And we're just going to line it up just like so. Then we're going to grab my anchor points and pull them down to match. There we go. Then I'm going to get rid of some of my guidelines just so that I don't have a whole bunch of stuff like messing up and holding me on there very much. Then, so that is one of the sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the entire sleeve. That way I have one regular sleeve and then I'm going to have one sleeve that is not regular. That's going to have that fun little point. So to make sure that I have everything trued up and everything, we want to know how much these lengths are. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut those guys apart. And then I will have those lengths. And I'm going to give myself some room so that I can bring my sleeve in between those 2 points. Then we're going to Do I have a piece of paper right here? Yes, I do. There we go. Because I need to make sure I write these down. Because if I don't, I'll have to continually be back and looking at them. So we're going to go and find out these lengths right here. 6.5. 6.538 is the front. And we're going to highlight the back. And it is 5.638. Awesome. So then we know that we want to match up those. So we are now going to zoom on into our sleeve. And we're going to cut apart there and there. Then we want to cut a line that is 5.63. So I'm going to just do a guessing game and see where we're at. So we're at 4. So we're going to go a whole nother inch. .36. So I'm going to zoom in on that anchor point right there. We're going to Control Z it, and then we're going to cut it again and check. 7.9, a little bit too far. There we go. Then we're going to do the same on this side, and this side we want 5.6. So we are going to cut. Go close. Do not quite far enough. Oops. Double undo. Undo is my friend. There we go. Then all I have to do, whoops, wrong button. We're going to delete that top part. So now we know that this half of the undersleeve will fit to the front of my garment, and this part of my sleeve will fit to the underarm of my back of my garment. But I want to make that cute little point that I have. So this is the shirt, and it kind of goes down into a point right off of the shoulder. So I'm going to create a cute little point. And I might go a little bit further than what they have in there. And wow, did I not guesstimate the bottom at all. And I'm also going to change. We're going to make it hard. Yeah, so there's a few different ways that I can go ahead and do this. And I think I'm going to leave it hard because you can like curve them in so that it's a little bit more stylized in. But I think I'm going to leave it harsh, nice and crisp there for everything. Then the last thing that we need to do, not the last thing, the next thing, we got to join those guys. Join, corner. And those are joined. Then we have all these little crisscross things that we want to add on. So you can either make the shirt in general and make the shirt already, and then you can have these crisscross pieces kind of prepped and ready, and you can place them on once your garment's already made, or you can also pre-plan it right now. So if you look at it, you can, if you wanted to recreate the shirt exactly, you could count exactly how many of these you wanted and exactly where they are laying. I'm going to go a little bit more artistic, I think, with it. And I might put them on my body once I am done drafting this and making this shirt. But if you wanted to, let's just zoom in and say you want to put a hash mark at every place that you wanted one of those lines. It's really easy to just place a hash mark, 0.5 at 90. For guidelines. This is especially handy if you're actually trying to give this pattern to somebody else to make. to have the just little hash marks. Whoops. Let me grab it. Everywhere. And if you knew you wanted them an inch apart, all you would have to do is place them on top of each other. And we're going to move it, and we're going to move it 1 inch horizontally. We're going to hit OK. That looks really close together to me. So I'm actually going to go ahead and move it another 1/2 inch. There we go. And if I wanted to do it again, we're going to highlight it, go in, move it. We're going to go 1.5 this time. And did not do that right. So I want to highlight it, transform, move 1.5. But before you go, you want to hit copy. There we go. That way I have it there. And then you're giving yourself 1.5 inch hash marks so that you would know exactly where you want those to line up. And then when you're making them, you're just going to be making that really thin, pulled through. I am not coming up with the name, but it's like a really thin strap basically. And then sewing it on. Then that is basically my pattern. The last few things that I have to do is I have to go in and put in my grain lines and make sure I'm labeling what my patterns are. I have to go in and add some seam allowance and all that fun stuff. And then I'm going to buy my fabric. I've already found it. I haven't bought it quite yet, but I have found my fabric, and I'm very excited to be putting this garment together in the near future. So if you are interested in seeing how this guy comes together and possibly getting this pattern once it's fully finished, make sure to check back because I will be doing a video on how to build it and how to create it. If you have any questions about patterning in Adobe Illustrator, definitely shoot me a message. I am happy to send anybody some information that I have, or make sure to grab those key commands and useful charts. That is how I get patterning fast in Adobe Illustrator. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for coming to my Christmas patterning party where I patterned this fun Grinch shirt. And I hope to see you all at another time. Happy Saturday.